Welcome to the Dr. Gundry podcast. You know, it's been referred to as the mother of all antioxidants, the master detoxifier, and the maestro of the immune system. I'm talking about glutathione, one of the most essential molecules for helping the body fight off illness and prevent premature aging. In fact, it's been shown that many people who suffer from serious health conditions lack a lot of glutathione in the body. And unfortunately, due to poor diet and the abundance of toxins in our environment, the majority of us are also running low on glutathione. But my guest today is here to help. After a quick break, I'll introduce you to Dr. Steve Morris, a physician and chief formulation scientist who specializes in developing nutraceuticals and cosmetic formulations. Dr. Morris has a passion for discovering alternative ways to promote well-being, and when it comes to supporting your glutathione levels, he says he's cracked the code. In a bit, we'll dive into Dr. Morris's research on some of the most incredible ways to support your health so that you feel and even look like a younger, healthier you. So, Dr. Morris, it's great to have you on the podcast. So, first of all, for everybody who wants to know what the heck is glutathione and why do we need it? I know that's a big one, but let's start there.
No, that's a great question. I think to start off, we probably need to back up just a little bit and talk about, what the heck is a free radical? We hear that word all the time. We hear that we're constantly exposed to them, and we are, both inside our bodies and outside. And the main thing to know is that free radicals and toxins are basically just unstable molecules looking for stability. Glutathione, as you mentioned, is the maestro or master antioxidant in the body. It neutralizes or renders inert those free radicals and toxins at a very efficient rate. That's its main role in the body.
So I've written in the Energy Paradox and elsewhere that glutathione is really the master antioxidant within mitochondria, the energy-producing organelles in most of our cells. So what's the difference between an antioxidant that we use that term rather freely?
Yes, we do.
And glutathione. Glutathione is a true antioxidant, true?
Yes, it's called an endogenous antioxidant, meaning it's made inside our body. So, in essence, the best antioxidant that we have, our bodies make. We just need to give it the right building blocks, so to speak, and we're going to talk about that, so our bodies can optimally make the right amount of glutathione. Antioxidants, vitamin C and quercetin, vitamin E, all that, we could list off a number of them. They're all good. Those are considered exogenous, meaning they come from outside the body. We ingest them, they go in, and they do a similar type reaction we're going to talk about as well, to help render these bad molecules harmless.
So you're right. I think a lot of people certainly have been told that, well, you can swallow a lot of antioxidants, but there's some convincing literature that you could swallow all the antioxidants in the world and they probably aren't going to do a whole lot for you and may in fact be harmful. A lot of people still like to point to the old vitamin E study in smokers.
Yeah.
That, vitamin E consumption worsened lung cancer. And we can go down. Remember that study? Yeah.
Yep.
And that vitamin C in excessive doses can turn into a pro-oxidant rather than an antioxidant. But you're right, glutathione we make ourselves. And in a little bit we're going to talk about swallowing glutathione and So what's the secret to glutathione? I mean, how does it work? How does it mop up free radicals or neutralize them?
Well, you know what? It comes down to one simple thing, and honestly, it really is this simple: sulfur. Glutathione has what is called a sulfhydryl group. All that means is it's a fancy term for the fact that it has a sulfur atom attached to the molecule that has a hydrogen atom attached to that sulfur. And that sulfur readily wants to give up its hydrogen or electron to neutralize these free radicals, if that makes sense. And that's the secret behind glutathione. That's how it works.
Sulfur is it's that yellow stuff, and isn't that the stuff that makes rotten eggs smell like rotten eggs?
Exactly. If you've ever been to Yellowstone, you'll be very familiar with that. Yeah, and you know, you smell that and you think, well, how can that be good for my body? It's vital for your body in many ways, and I don't just mean, you know, for antioxidants. Sulfur is used to make many of the building blocks of all the tissues of our body. It is used in our immune system. It's essential, and so yeah, we have to get an adequate amount of sulfur to be able to make glutathione.
Yeah, I think it's fascinating that many Star Trek fans know that we're a carbon-based life form.
Yep.
But it's perfectly conceivable, and many people would argue that we're also a sulfur-based life form.
Absolutely.
And I think we probably forget that at our peril. Like you're pointing out, sulfur is right behind copper is probably what we need most out of the elemental table.
You're right. Absolutely right. Yeah. I mean, I think the general public would be surprised if they knew the types of metals and different things in our bodies that catalyze the reactions that make us move and alive every day. Chromium, for instance.
Yep.
Selenium. Gold, silver. I mean, all of these are utilized in the body to catalyze reactions.
Okay, so you're talking about reactions and sulfation, and people have, you know, heard. I'm sure they've heard about sulfur. Some people are aware of sulfites. Some of the things we use to keep wine from going bad. What's the difference, and why is sulfur different than sulfites, and should we be worried about all these different forms of sulfur?
Very good question. So you'll hear two words commonly now, and they're demonized. It's sulfites and sulfates. Switch the I for an A. Sulfates, the only difference between a sulfate and a sulfite molecule is that a sulfate has 4 oxygen atoms attached to a sulfur, and a sulfite has 3 oxygen atoms. And like you said, we use them as preservatives frequently in foods, personal care products. Many of the surfactants, you know, soap a long time ago used to not foam. It foams now because we use sulfates and sulfites. The problem, those 2 ingredients actually are not bad for you. They're not carcinogenic, but there are individuals who are sensitive and some individuals who are actually allergic to them. And so it's sulfite and sulfate are actual molecules containing sulfur. Sulfur is a completely separate thing. You need sulfur to live. Your body's made of it. So they're 2 completely, and along that line as well, you know, there are people who have, you know, allergies to sulfa drugs.
Right.
Trimethoprim sulfamethoxazole is one of them. And, you know, that once again, that has nothing to do with the sulfur atom. It's the actual drug.
Gotcha.
Yep.
So sulfur is very important in sulfation, and its role in phase 1 and phase 2 detoxification in the liver. Can you walk us through that?
Yes, I can, absolutely.